Let's talk about this real quick.
Yeah, this is
okay.
this is an incredible moment in history. And where did you guys record that?
So,
By the way, for those who are listening, not watching,
Yeah.
we're talking about the latest Exodus record, Persona Non Grata.
that's Persona Non Grata. Yeah. We actually recorded it up at Tom's house. The last several records, we haven't gone into a real studio in a very, very long time. Sometimes what we'll do is go in and record the drums in a big studio where you have the big room and all the mics and all the inputs and all that stuff. Yeah. But this time we had it all ourselves. We got our buddy Steve Lagudi, who was he used to be sound man for Machine Head and a lot of other bands, and he brought all of his Midas stuff over, and Tom has like a barn shed by his house, and we just set up in there, and we took all the time that we needed to do whatever we wanted. We actually got to leave the drums set up. So like at a couple points halfway through the record, Tom decided he wanted to change something, and he just went in, played it, changed it, and it was in. Right. Wow, and it was just a really relaxing experience. We'd have somebody be in there working, and the rest of us are outside barbecuing and throwing the Frisbee around or hiking through the mountains. It's Tom's place is up in a place called Lake Almanor. It's way up kind of by the Nevada border, up there by Lassen, and it's just up in the Sierra Nevadas. I mean, It's just beautiful up there. So it was just a really cool experience. We stayed up there. Most of us stayed up there the whole time. Lee would kind of go back and forth to his family. Everybody went kind of back and forth, but yeah, man, it was really, really a good experience. Really relaxing.
You were living in Nashville at the time during the recording?
Yeah, but I just went back out to California. We were all staying at Tom's house. Okay. And then we rented a house for the month up there.
Good.
Like his cousin had a really cool vacation, weekender vacation home, and he gave us a really good deal for the month.
Yeah.
And it was just up the street from Tom's. And
how many of you guys were staying in the rental?
2 or 3. So it was kind of cool. Tom stayed at his house. Gary stayed at Tom's, and Steve Lagudi stayed at Tom's. So they were all there all the time. And then, so for most of it, it was just me and Zetro at this gigantic house on the river. I was kicking it, man. I actually kicked it a little too hard. I was, I was like, I got to go play some bass, goddammit. But so it was just a really, really relaxing time. And it gave us the time to not hurry and, go back and fix things that we wanted to fix. And,
were you, I'm sorry to be pushing this, but were you writing while recording, or were the songs pretty much demoed out already? And
mostly they're done. Kind of the way we do it is Tom and Gary get in a room for a couple months, and hammer most of the songs out, just half stack and drum set. I used to kind of go and sit in on it and stuff, and I just realized I was getting in the way. I was just taking time away from the real creative burn, that can go on between those two. And so now I just wait till they're, Gary calls me and he goes, all right, we're going to start. And once we have about 8, then it's time to start doing it, because Gary will write a couple in the studio at the last minute, and then we'll all have to learn it. Those are usually the barn burners, or he turns them in at the 0 hour, and we all have to get it and play it. But so he kind of stays creative through that whole process. Once he turns on, man, he's like a machine. It's he's like Gary's the real deal, man. Once he starts working, he does everything, and every note goes by him, and he knows what the cover is going to look like and what the mood is, he knows it's his thing, from front to back, basically.
Well, he nailed it, but I need to kind of step to the side and go, you guys nailed it. This
Thanks.
record kind of brought back Exodus.
Yeah, I second that. I was going to ask, it was 7 years. There was a 7-year wait between the last album and this one. So, and some of this you just explained, you guys had the luxury of being able to take your time, whatnot. COVID gets in the middle of all that, I'm sure. But after 7 years and this thing comes out and the reviews across the board were just phenomenal, man. You guys had to have been stoked at the response you got from it.
Yeah. It was a little weird though, actually. I mean, the whole 7-year thing was really because of Gary and Slayer. Like we didn't want to make a record and then have to tour it without Gary and stuff. So that was an extra long time. We were waiting for that thing. But and then also, we made it, like we went in and recorded it about 3 months into the pandemic. We had no idea what was, that we were going to be. So we made it, we sat on it for almost a year. We still things were locked down and the label said, you got to put it out. So we put it out in the middle of COVID and then couldn't tour it or anything. So, basically everything that happened, then it's kind of a mulligan. Like we don't even know what the numbers meant. And you know what I mean? So, it got, the critical acclaim that we wanted, people liked it. Yeah. So hopefully the next one is a step in the same direction. And now that things are a little bit back to normal, we can really, do something and take off with it.
Yeah. Tell me about the artwork. This is an amazing piece of artwork on the album cover.
Dave, you got some signatures on that thing or no?
Yeah, all the guys. This is my son's. We saw you on the Bass Strikes Back tour in Austin, Texas, and my son, who is now 15, he was 14 at the time, was standing out in front of your bus.
I love this story.
And Lee was on the phone outside the bus, so I told my son, "You got to wait till he's done with that phone call." And so he did, and then he approached Lee and asked for his autograph, and Lee signed it. And then Lee went on the bus, and then my son and I were standing outside the bus, and Gary sends one of your road crew out of the bus, and he says, "Hey, Gary's in there. He wants to know if you want that signed." And my son says, "Yeah, please." So we kind of walked to the front door of the bus, and Gary and the guys, all you guys came to the stairs at some point, signed it. And then my son is handing Bonded by Blood, and he goes, "Just Gary and Tom on this one." And Gary was very impressed that he was so specific about that request. But yeah, all you guys were really cool. We were in the parking lot. We just got dropped off. We were in the parking lot 5 minutes, and this whole album was autographed by every guy in the band. And then at some point later in the night, that same road crew guy passed me in the crowd. The show was going on, and I stopped him and I said, "Hey, man, thanks so much for making that happen. That was really cool. You made my son's day." And he goes, "Dude, that was all Gary. He saw your boys standing outside. He saw them through the windshield of the bus, and he told me to go get them." And he says, "I was happy to do it, but that was all Gary." So,
sorry to throw a crowbar in the middle of the whole thing. The artwork, Dave.
Yes, the artwork. Tell us about the artwork, Jack.
I don't know shit about the artwork.
He's honest.
Well, that's when you go. That's when you go, man. I'm just a bass player.
Well, he did say just a minute ago. He said just a minute ago that Gary sort of conceptualized everything, and he even said the album cover and everything. So
he I was
just curious.
I know it's kind of a there's a little bit of a play from the last album, because there's the little pod with the baby in it in the front, and there was like the whole row of the pods of babies on the last one. So I think this is like the next step of the evolution of the whatever the art on the last one. Man, I don't fucking know, man. Gary does it, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a it's Gary and the artist. Like Gary goes, oh, I need something like this. It's called this and something like that. And then the guy will send a couple sketches and Gary's like, yeah, but a little bit, like Gary looks at it and then he gets an idea. Oh, maybe, or the blood isn't red enough, make it redder, or, like they kind of go back and forth and then it is what it is,
Yeah.
That sounds like a not to dumb it down, normal process for the visionary. It's the normal process.
It's a beautiful piece of work. I mean,
it's immaculate.
Yeah,
the color scheme is incredible.
Do you know the artist's name, Dave?
No, I meant to look at the credits.
That's the artist's name.
Man, I've met him and I'm just I'm too old to remember these things.
I get it.
Now.
Well,
But it's the same guy.
Yeah,
that right there is a frameable piece of art. That is,
man. The backdrop. We have it on our backdrop.
Yeah,
and man, like the blue and the red in it, man, they look so good under the lights.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah.